Hello students, today we are going to learn how to write a good composition with ease. Most students have trouble with their writing skills. They feel at a loss when they have to write a composition. They think for a moment and begin writing and end up with a messy and poor composition. Therefore, it is necessary for students to learn to focus on the given topic, gather ideas, and integrate them into a good piece of writing. This video is prepared to help simplify essay writing for students. The best part of the ICSE composition writing is that they are not just topics but guided compositions wherein you are given certain guidelines or keywords to think and write on. The first question of the ICSE English language question paper is composition writing, for which 20 marks are allotted, and the required length should be 300 to 350 words. You get 5 different varieties of topics to choose from, which includes story writing, descriptive writing, narrative composition, argumentative, and picture composition. Now, the 15 minutes of reading time allotted to you is crucial, during which you need to skim through the full question paper, and during this period you must also decide on the topic you are going to write on. So choose a topic. The topic of your choice is very important because it depends upon your mastery of the knowledge of the topic, your experience, and your interest in the particular topic. It must be the topic that interests you, tickles you, and the topic you know about. This would be your first stage of action. So read the topic again and underline the key words or signal words or the prompts. Now, once the topic is decided, you need to think of a word or several words that will identify the topic. Think of words to identify the approach. So the approach is very important, and brainstorm your mind a little. Focus on your thoughts process to the topic, reading it in betweens. The approach, what is the approach? The approach is your opinion about the topic, or just the way you see the topic, or what you wish to say about the topic. Now, once you get the topic and its approach, it becomes easy to write the opening sentence, because the opening sentence is equal to topic plus approach. This can be called the thesis statement or the theme statement. So opening sentence is equal to topic plus approach. And as we already have learned what an approach is, now you know how to write it. So the opening sentence is the first sentence in your composition. Everything you would state in your composition must be connected with the idea expressed in this sentence. You need to grab the attention of the reader through this sentence. Therefore, this sentence is very important. For example, suppose your topic is life in a village. Then your approach could be better than cities. And the OS would be topic plus approach. Therefore, your sentence could be life in a village is better than cities. You could simply say it. Or you could say nowadays most people prefer living in cities. But I prefer to live in a village because life there is much better and healthy. Now there could be different students approaching this same topic in different ways. So the same topic can be written with another approach. Here you can see the second approach. Life in a village is the topic, and the approach is different from cities. So think of several ideas or points connected to the topic. The idea should be relevant to the topic and must not contradict it. For example, you can see here in the points that we could write on could be no pollution, living in the lap of nature. So life in a village has no pollution, and people live in the lap of nature. People are friendly, healthy environment, we have life which is cheaper. So these are examples of good points. Now there could be students who could write in another way. So let's see examples of what students write. So here's an example of some bad points that so that you can understand what needs to be written and what should not be written and should be avoided. So here you have, last year I visited a very beautiful village. Now this point is not relevant, or this sentence is not relevant to the opening sentence. Another opening sentence is, my friend Raj from a village is very friendly. Here you can see it's digression and the sentence is not directly connected to the OS. Then the next third way of approaching or the OS could be, people in villages are nosy and messes with your life. So this point would be contradicting your point and the opening sentence too. So children, now the good points that we have already learnt about, this could be expanded into paragraphs, adding details into it. So let's see what we can do with the next thing. Here, for example, let's consider this topic. So, there has been heavy rains in your city or town. You went to school but found that it was closed because of the rain. Describe the sights and sounds near the school and narrate how you finally reached home and spent the rest of the day. So you can see here I have underlined the main points or the prompts. Now there has been heavy rains. So heavy rains I have underlined. Went to school, closed, the sights, sounds, then how you finally reached home and spent the rest of the day. So as you can see in the ICSE question paper, you are not just given the topic but some key words. Therefore, the first step or action should be to underline the keywords or the prompts that would guide you to write this composition with ease. Underline it in the paper so that you do not miss out any of the point that may help you in writing the different paragraphs. Here in the topic, the keywords could be, you have seen, heavy rains, went to school, closed, the sights, and so on. I have already underlined it. You can see it. So the topic is heavy rains the previous night and school closed. Approach is already given. How you spend the day, the rest of the day. This is the approach. So now your next step should be to brainstorm. So what would you do? You have to brainstorm your ideas related to the topic. So you brainstorm for ideas. Scribble or note down, jot down these ideas with a pencil or even organize ideas in your mind. Do not talk about things that are not directly connected to the opening sentence. None of these ideas should also contradict the opening sentence. All these ideas must express what you would say in the opening sentence. So use your 5 senses. Make it appealing to the senses or to the readers. So you can see here, use the 5 sentences, make it appealing to the senses of the reader. Explain how it looked like. Flooded streets, roads disappeared, submerged under the water, sky with more clouds, heavy clouds, dark clouds, how it smelled. Maybe the air smelled fresh, how it sounded, the sounds of splashing and gushing of water made by the moving vehicles, frogs croaked, birds chirping, how it felt, the trickling of water from the leaves of the trees, fun wading through the water, and so on. Now, describe your emotions or feelings related to your topic. This will connect you with your reader with a clear impression. So, enjoyed the splashing and wading through the water. Leave the reader with a clear impression. This should evoke a strong sense of familiarity and appreciation in the reader. So, try to present an organized and logical sequencing of the description. Give a title to the composition. So this is optional. You could give a title or you may avoid it. But it would be nice to write. But don't go wasting time over it to think over. So remember, be always present. To always present and organized and logical description is very necessary. This being done, you have won more than half the battle. So we move on. All of these can be done during the 15 minutes of reading time allotted to you. So let's see once more what you need to do during the 15 minutes of reading time. Read and understand the topic thoroughly. Try to know the purpose of the topic. Then underline the key words or prompts in the question. Think of your approach to the topic. Think of the opening sentence, which would be the topic plus approach. Then write down some points related to the opening sentence and organize ideas in your mind relevant to the topic. Then think of a title for your composition. Of course, this is optional. Now you're ready for the real action, the writing of the essay. But before that, let's discuss the closing sentence. The closing sentence of an essay is equally important as the opening sentence, as it caps or closes the composition with style. There are many ways of closing a composition. The most usual ones are a restatement of the opening sentence, a summary of the points or ideas, a look to the future, a related thought that grows out of the body of the composition. This could be a conclusion, and then the mixed type. So one by one we'll take up these so that we understand. So first let's look at a restatement of the opening sentence. What does this mean? A restatement means to say the same idea but using different words. If you repeat the same words, it would be considered as a repetition and therefore an error. So put the same idea in a different way. Then another way to write the closing sentence is to summarize all the points or ideas. So you can summarize, for example, for the topic of life in a village, you have already jotted down the ideas and points, and now you could use those points to write the summary and conclude it with that summary. So it could be, for example, with a cheaper life, a close contact with nature, a healthy environment, and surrounded by nice, friendly people, villages are the ideal place to live. So this could be a summary of the main points where you have concluded with all the important main points. Then the third kind is a look to the future. So what's this? Now here you could say, I really think I should leave the city and look for a nice house in a village as soon as possible. So this tells us about the future endeavor of the writer. Then the next point is a thought that grows out of the body of the composition. Here we could say that this usually would be a conclusion from the points already stated. That's like example, that's why our urban societies are more efficient but its people less human. Then we come to the mixed type. And in the mixed type, this could be a combination of several types of conclusion. Example, that's why I'm planning to move to a village because life there is much better than in the cities. Here you can see a mixture of a restatement, that is the first one, and the third one, that is the look to the future. So it's a combination of these two varieties. So children, as you can see, writing turns easier and the results are much better if you follow these guidelines. We talked about writing a composition, how to begin. We talked of how to organize your thoughts related to the topic. We thought and talked about the ways to end your composition. Now let's talk about the body of the composition. This comes when we are finally going to write the composition. Remember, you had scribbled and jotted down some points related to the topic. The next thing would be to expand these ideas into paragraphs. Each idea is the seed or prompt of a future paragraph. So organize these ideas into paragraphs. You can just jot down as rough work, maybe at the last page or the of your answer scripts. Every paragraph must be indented. So there could be, you leave 2-finger space. Let's see how we can go about this. The first paragraph begins with the opening sentence, and it is the introduction to the topic. The OS can also begin with a quote, a question, or a shocking information related to the topic. You need to put in the first paragraph the most relevant or the most interesting information to grab the attention of the reader. For this, you can choose from the ideas or points you have already jotted down. Here we need to decide which idea would be the best to be included in the first paragraph. That is the introductory paragraph. Likewise, the rest of the points would go in one or several paragraphs in the middle of the composition to form the body of the composition. Every paragraph may contain one or several points. As you can see the points over here, the points that are given here, you can see it here on the on your screen. But all of them must be talking about the same general idea, and that idea must be different from the general ideas of other paragraphs. That is what makes a paragraph unit. For example, when you write, you could write for the topic life in a village, the approach could be better than cities. In the first paragraph, we start the OS. Or we include the OS, opening sentence, and then we can talk about the bad things about living in a city. That way, the good things about a village will later sound even better. The next paragraph may talk about people and why they make life there better. You can say they know you, they are nice, they care about you, they are simple, and they love you, they help you. All these things can be written in the next paragraph. Another paragraph, you may talk about life there being more natural, with clean air, no pollution, contact with nature, beauty of the landscape, animals around, etc. Yet another paragraph, you may write about life in a village, the way of life in the village, everything cheaper, healthy entertainment, more exercise, etc. Then finally, you can write the way of the life in a village. The last paragraph should end with the closing sentence, where the other sentences in this paragraph will strengthen and support the closing sentence, or it may be some points that will help us accept the idea in the closing sentence better. Depending on what kind of a composition you are writing, the last paragraph is used to explain the result of the event, the end of the action, the conclusion of the reasoning, the climax of the story, your personal opinion, etc. For instance, if the closing sentence is a look to the future, you may write, I have decided to move to a village. Then the previous sentences in that paragraph may explain that in the last months, I have been getting more and more tired of cities. Another example of a nice sentence could be, cities are getting more and more aggressive and polluted. That's why I'm thinking of moving to a village. So finally, we come to the writing of the composition. So next comes the actual writing. You have got to write the opening sentence. Your closing sentence comes next. It should be also there. Your points and the organizations of the points into paragraphs. Now these are all integrated and combined and written. We have already done with this 90% of the job. We would now need to use the sentence connectors or adverbs that begin sentences. It's very important to use connectors, as you can see it here, to relate ideas such as although, nevertheless, incidentally, that's why, because, so, afterwards. So, in the first place, on the one hand, unfortunately, etc. So words like that begins, that they are adverbs and that they begin the sentences. So do not write lengthy complex sentences. Use clear, concise sentences or language. Next step would be to proofread your composition for two things. Number one, grammatical errors. Number two, spellings. Now for spellings, you lose 1/4 mark for one spelling error, and for 4 spelling errors, you lose 1 mark. So you cannot afford to lose these marks. Leave time at the end of your composition again carefully. If you do not correct or check for errors, it will be corrected by the evaluator and you lose marks on that count. For every spelling errors, you lose 1/4 mark. We have already talked about that. And then the grammatical errors are graded. For 3 grammatical errors in the first 200 words, you get an A grade. For the next 3, you are graded as B, and so on. And you lose marks on that count too. So if you fall short of the length, you can see if you fall short of the length of 300 to 350 words, now there again you lose 25% of the total mark of the composition, that is 5 marks. If you move away from the topic and you are not focused on the real issue, you digress. So you tend to lose marks there too. All said and done. So we talked about the errors, spelling errors, and leave time at the end to read your composition if possible several times. So all said and done. You are the one who can write actually the composition. So we look at here some basic facts that will tell us what you need to do to enhance some things so that you get your language skills and you use it to the best benefit. So let's see what they are. To write a good composition, you must have a good vocabulary. To enhance your vocabulary, you must read daily. So this is a must ingredient. The best and quick way to learn English is to watch English movies. Do not read the subtitles in the movies, but try to listen and understand. Prepare a list of adverbs that begin sentences so that you can use them in your composition and you do not use words that are repeated. Paste this list on a cardboard, 10 words at a time, and keep it at your study table. By looking at it daily, these words would be automatically registered in your mind and you would use it frequently in your compositions. Also prepare a list of feelings and emotions so as to express yourself better. Learn these on weekends to enhance your vocabulary. So here's the list of adverbs. You may see these words are very useful for your composition writing, and here I have got a list of feelings and body sensations that you can use to express yourself while doing. So all said and done. Last of all, practice, practice, practice and practice. For practice makes a man perfect. I hope you have understood, and this would really help you and benefit you to write better compositions. So good luck, children. Thank you.